What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Skyrim Mods Showcase. Today we're going to be going over a mod that I find pretty interesting. It is a little bit on the older side, but I think with the plethora of new animation mods that have been coming out over the past couple of months, I think this mod would be very useful. That mod is called Stance's Dynamic Animation Sets. What this mod does is allow you to switch between 4 different animation sets with the press of a hotkey. In addition to be able to switch between the 4 stances, you can also switch between those stances in the middle of combat. Now the stances are labeled as following: neutral, low, mid, and high. This may sound familiar if you played games like Neo and Neo 2. Now before installing the mod, it is important that you read the Nexus requirements. At least 2 of these are hard requirements, such as the Dynamic Animation Replacer, and I'll put a description down below if you want an explanation of that, as well as Guy UI for the MCN menu. Now once you install the mod with all the requirements, it is important that you read the installation steps. I will link them on the video here, but it is important that you read these as they will tell you how to set the animations. Just to give you a quick description of it, once you install the mod, you will have 3 folders labeled 6001, 6002, and 6003. These are your stance folders, as it were, and these are where you're going to be placing the animations of your choice. The author does have some animation recommendations, so if you're not entirely too sure or you're new to animations, definitely check out some of those and play with some of those animations before you start digging into other animations. Now, fair warning, this only works for 1 weapon set. If you are familiar with other animations, or if you are familiar with how to set other folders, there is instructions on that as well. But there's also another mod that we'll be talking about later on in the video that will give you the option to install different animation sets for different weapon types. If you installed the mod correctly, you should see within the mod configuration menu a new option called Stances. This will give you the options that was mentioned in the installation instructions if you took a read. If not, here you can separate through 3 different stance switch options. One is switch hotkeys, one is separate hotkeys, and then one is draw/sheath. Now I use the separate hotkeys as this allows you to set up hotkeys for your neutral stance, your low stance, mid stance, and high stance. Once you have those set up and your animations are set, go ahead and draw your weapon. And I'll go ahead and show the stances now. As you can see above the character's head, you can see a little stance icon. Now I'm in my low stance, mid stance, and high stance. Now depending on your animation sets, you will have different animation stances and things like that. Of course, I have different animation sets from the rest of you guys, but that is just a brief overview of what you'll get when you install the mod. And to show that this works, I'll go ahead and go through the different animations. So that was my neutral stance. Here's my low stance. Here's my mid stance. And here's my high stance. So if you want to take this a step further, I would go ahead and recommend installing the Stance's Dynamic Animation Sets add-on. Now what this allows you to do is set different attributes such as attack speeds and attack buffs and debuffs to each one of the stances. So if you do decide to install the mod, you'll get another option underneath the stances called Stances Add-on. As you can see here, you can go ahead and change the attribute to each one of the stances. The low stance by default has lower attack damage and power attack damage. However, you get faster attack speed, movement speed, and stamina regeneration. Your mid stance is kind of your in-between, while you don't get any significant buffs, such as block efficiency. It is more of a balanced stance. Your neutral stance resets everything back to its base stats, and then your high stance is really meant for more attack damage and power, with the trade-off being slower stamina regeneration, movement speed, and attack speed debuff. Now, there are some options for the player-based attack speed. This is a good option if you don't have any mods that change your overall attack speed. If you do have mods that do and change your attack speed, then go ahead and check this option off. But if you don't, I recommend tacking on this option on, so that way the animations play at their original speeds and that they play at the correct speeds that you set here in the mod configuration menu. So I mentioned before that the mod originally only gives you 3 folders, which allows you to basically set 3 animations for a particular weapon type, usually only 1 weapon. Now, if you really want to take the most out of this mod, you need to combine it with another mod called AMR Stance Framework. Now, to give a basic explanation of what this mod does, this mod gives you a set of folders that will allow you to place animations within each of the low, mid, and high stances that we set before. However, this will be now broken down into different weapon types, such as great swords, war axes, war hammers, regular swords, daggers, etc. In the description or in the pinned comment, I'm going to leave a tutorial that was made by PINORim. I apologize if I pronounced your name wrong. He actually has a very useful tutorial on how to set up all of this stuff, as well as a AMR Stance Framework custom folder, and this custom folder breaks down everything that you see on the screen as to separate from the great swords, regular swords, war hammers, etc. So definitely recommend checking out that video and watching for that tutorial, as it will help you set up your animations in each one of the folders as well. Alright, so once you have all of the folders and animations set up, now you'll be able to do what I believe is the best intention of this mod, is to use different animation sets for different weapons. Now, I have in my folder set up one for great swords and for regular swords. You've already seen my animation set up for my great swords, but now I can switch over to my one-handed sword. And as you can see, I'll have different animations for that setup as well. Now, this is the main purpose, I think, of this mod, is to be able to switch between different animation sets of different weapons and adjust accordingly. So I think that's going to be really useful, and it really does bring out the most in Skyrim's combat. As we know, Skyrim's combat is fairly limited and downright boring at times. Now, I'm going to end the video with some combat scenarios, so you'll hear the end of my voice here. But if you did enjoy the video, please go ahead and like and hit the subscribe button and bell notification icon, as well as go ahead and endorse all of the mods that I've linked down below. Without these mods, obviously I wouldn't be able to make these videos, and so they deserve every bit as recognition as possible. So I'll try and do more mod videos in the future. This did take a while to make, so again, if you did enjoy it, please go ahead and hit the like button, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys next time on my Skyrim Mod Showcases. Take care.